Charease of Okeen, and we are two brown chicks changing the face of therapy on both sides of the couch. Woo!
I was like, when do I holler?
Okay, insert holler.
Now we're going to introduce this lovely guest that has been entertaining you for the last 5 minutes already. We have Miss Charease Davis here.
Yes, the total woman.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes.
Who has so much going on, and she's going to talk about all of it. And y'all just took a trip together. That was apparently the most amazing trip ever in life. I don't feel any type of way about
She was
that.
invited.
And now she needs therapy for that.
I don't want to talk
She
about
was
it.
invited, yes. We were co-facilitators for the Women's Earth Retreat in Tobago.
My Lord.
Woo!
So good.
So much goodness.
Whew.
And we were co-facilitators, but we are my sister.
My sister.
I love
sister.
you. My honey bear.
This has been happening all the time. So, we're going to learn a little bit more about
Before we
Charease.
get into like a full out look.
Right.
Yeah.
So we want to know about your company, Total Woman, and like
Okay.
what was the inspiration behind it?
So my company, Total Woman, is really all about helping women navigate life and live like at their highest vibrational level possible. If I could just put it in a nutshell. Essentially what I do is to help facilitate healing for women through a process I call thought healing. I'm not a therapist, they have you for that. But what I do teach women how to do is how to think differently. Identifying their foundational belief system and really learning if the thoughts they think are even their own. Because a lot of some of the things that we have in us come from childhood, come from messaging that has just been given to us over and over and over again. And so sometimes that kind of messaging can feel like it's what you really think, but actually it's not what you really think. So I help women to kind of navigate that process in order to create the life they've always imagined.
Okay.
So the inspiration behind the company initially was supposed to be a magazine. I was subscribing to like, Cosmo, if I wanted to know like how to be more sexual and do fun stuff, and if I wanted like inspiration and a new reading list, and I have like 7 or 8 magazines, and I'm like, why isn't all of this stuff in one thing? So that's where the name Total Woman came from. I wanted to create a publication where moms, single women, wives could find really everything in one space. So how to cook quick meals, how to, have fitness with your schedule, being flexible, all of those things. And somewhere in that process, my mom actually got sick. She was diagnosed with fibromyalgia before it was even like a real thing. Doctors were still researching it, and there wasn't any treatment for it at the time. They actually thought it was a mental disorder, like in people's heads.
Oh, wow.
Not like a body thing. And so she went misdiagnosed for a long time. And that disease actually spiraled her into depression, along with some other life things too. And before you know it, she had cirrhosis of the liver from drinking, congestive heart failure. She had had several heart attacks, big and small, in her 40s. And by the age of 50-ish, she had transitioned. So in the process of all of that happening, I was really looking for a way to help her.
Right.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to write a curriculum. I'm going to try to figure out what to do, because I knew that the doctors weren't helping her. You know what I mean? They were just trying things, and everything made everything worse. But before I could even offer the work to her, she had transitioned. And I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm never going to be this way. I'm not going to be an alcoholic. I'm not going to be divorced. I'm not going to be, like, all of the things that I felt like contributed to her depression was not going to be me. But the crazy thing is, in 2013, in April, I was divorced. In June, I turned 29. 2 weeks later, my mother passed away. 3 months later, my brother put me out of our family home. I had found myself homeless for 6 months, living on friends' couches, unemployed, because I had resigned from my job to help my mom. She was on hospice care at home. So it was like everything I didn't want it was just piling up to the point where I didn't even get to experience grief or anything. And then essentially that just led to me having thoughts of suicide at work one day, and then God was just like, you know, that work I gave you, like that work is for you. And so I actually started doing my own program, change spiritual communities. And one day I was at church and this girl walked up to me and she was like, I want to be happy like you. And in the moment, like I literally wanted to run out the door because it was one of those moments where you've been working towards something for so long. I hadn't even realized that I had arrived to what I was working towards. And she actually became my first client and is like a sister to me today.
Wow.
So,
and that is that's the abbreviated version, right? But to get to the point, you know, to where you talk a lot about embodying joy. And you are so that. I think anybody who knows you, who's around you, it's so awesome to see the end of your process. But what I love is that you share the process that got you there, and that it wasn't, you know, it was intentional. That's what I love.
For sure.
And that is like, I can testify, like you will go somewhere, it's like the joy has arrived.
I'm here. Everybody get happy now.
Right now.
Snap my fingers. You're now in the power of my voice and my authority.
And the thing, I think what it is because you embody that, right? It's like, oh, you're not even necessarily, you know, you'll meet people that are inauthentic and I'm just positive. And it's not that. It's like the intention that you set to find the joy, to be grateful in the moment. That is what people are witnessing. That it's like, oh, I can tap into that part of me also.
For sure.
Oh,
Honey Bear tells my story so good. And so fast. I mean, she brought up gratitude, which I left out, which is a major part of that story. But you've heard me tell it a lot of times.
Say, so gratitude saved my life.
Gratitude saved my life.
Oh, that's amazing.
Tell them how.
Tell them how. Honey Bear. Well, so the part about the moment of like thinking about committing suicide, I had slew of things happening that we talked about, and I was finally like getting my own place. Earlier that day, I had told my daughter, you know what, when I pick you up today, we're going home to our own place. My car is like fully packed. There's like only space for her in the back and then space for me in the front. And she's 5 at the time. And she's very excited and I'm very excited. And at the time I had just got a new job, a temp job. So, you know, you're trying to do everything right when you have a temp job because you want them to bring you on permanently. And it was a time of like transition for me. And I remember leaving the temp job with like all of this joy and excitement to go get these keys, right? And I pull up and I get into the office. I get off the elevator and I'm walking to the office. And when I get to the door, I see the sign with the clock on it, out for lunch. Well, I don't have time to wait for you to get back from lunch because I'm working a temp job. I can't keep this job. I'm trying to keep it. I've only been for a week. Like, I can't be late from lunch. And so I remember driving back to the job and not really feeling, I mostly felt sad that I would have to tell my daughter that we still didn't have a place to go for the night. And I remember driving back and just feeling like a bad mom. And I got into, you know, I pull in the parking garage, I go up the elevator and I go to the restroom first. And it's like when I got in the restroom and I go in the stall, I just like lost it. It was like everything that had been piling up for that year, it's just like it all hit me at one time, you know?
All the grief.
All the grief. And I was like, wow. And I remember thinking, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. I have these pills at home. Like, I know, you know.
Had a plan of action.
I had a plan of action. And it was so quick. Like, it, even telling the story in, like, post, it's crazy to me how quickly you can think of an exit plan. Like, when you're under so much pain and stress and trauma that's not dealt with. Like, it took me no time. I didn't even contemplate. It was like, oh, I got this. I know that can work. This person, Zoe can be with this person. She has really amazing, I have really amazing family. She has really amazing godparents. Like, she'll live a good life. Like, instantly. And I remember thinking and saying out loud, actually, I was like, God, if you could give me one thing to be grateful for, I feel like I can pull myself out of this. Mm-hmm. And I was reminded of a friend who's a teacher, and one of her students' father had died that morning. Mm-hmm. And she was telling me about it. She got off the phone in a rush because she needed to deal with that. Right. And I was like, wow, it's going to be a 5th grader going home without a dad today. And I was like, oh, God, thank you for my dad. Mm-hmm. And it was like, the moment I said that, it was like something in my being shifted, and a flood of like gratitude and things to be thankful for came to me. Mm-hmm. And I remember saying each thing out loud. Thank you for this. Thank you for this. Thank you for this. Thank you. And before I knew it, my face was dry. And I was like, you know what? Like, I need to do my work. Right. You know? Right. And that's when I put myself through my own program. But I say to this day, if Spirit had not loved me enough to give me a mindset to go to gratitude, I don't know that I can't say for sure that I would be here today.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so powerful.
So, and that's really the way that I am able to stay on a consistent path to joy and happiness. I'm always reminding myself of the amazing things that I have in my life that are happening for me, like capital FOR. Right. And
say it again.
You know? Capital
F.
For me. For me.
Yeah.
And I have just tried to really stay on the path of most allowance. Do you follow Abraham? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you know, Abraham talks about the path of most allowance, and one of the fundamental beliefs within that particular thing is that where there is resistance, there is unhappiness. And so I try to stay in the flow of life, therefore I can be happy. But when I start pushing back, then it creates something in me to where I can't be happy.
Blocks your joy.
It blocks my joy. So the path of most allowance is like one of the essential things in my life that keep me happy.
Flowing.
I love with ease and grace.
With ease.
You know, high joy. Not play joy. No. The real thing.
Capital J.
Capital J-O-Y. Italicized.
Yes.
Exclamation.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Underscore.
At
joy.com.
So if anybody is struggling to create that joy and to create that happiness, like what advice would you give them? Like how do you begin to even move into that?
I would say the first thing would be to take inventory of what brings you the most happiness without considering any external forces. Okay. So don't think about your job, don't think about your children, don't think about your partner, don't think about the missing of a partner.
Right.
Like, only focus on what you want. And not what you want to have, but like what you want in your life for yourself, who you want to be.
Right.
You know? And then what are the things that are necessary to be that person?
Right.
Because who you're wanting to be really is the person that you think is going to be happy when you get there.
Right.
Like, when I do this, when I have this, when I be this, then I'm going to be happy. Well, if you never start on the path to what it takes to become that person, you're never going to achieve the level of joy that you deserve. You know? So it's like, for me, the first step is identifying who you want to be. You know, what does it take to become that person?
Right.
You know, and not in deeds and achievement, but personally.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say is identify areas of healing, areas or opportunities for healing.
Yeah.
And then discover how you're gonna navigate that space. Is it gonna be therapy? Is it gonna be yoga? What is it gonna be for you?
Right.
And then maybe one of the last one or two things is move your body and focus on your diet.
Okay.
Because when you're moving your body, you're able to move positive energy around and negative energy out, right?
That's
So
powerful. That's why I love
moving
it.
your body is a big thing. Even if it's just 15 minutes of walking a day, or even if it's just stretching. Like, I feel like stretching is totally underrated.
Right.
Yeah.
But stretching, moving your hips, we carry stress in our hips. So even just squatting down for a few minutes a day. And then your diet. I think when you are using your diet as a spiritual practice, it creates opportunity for clear mental space. And then when you do that, you can really start to know what you want. Actually, what you want may change when you change you change your diet and move your body. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you're clearing.
You're clearing. So those are the things, and obviously, I think I said therapy, but therapy as a part of your process of healing, finding somebody to talk to that you can trust, and then just being it. You know, what I found is that if I am depressed, I look depressed, I feel depressed, I act depressed. Depression is all around me, and more experience of depression come to me. And you know, they have this saying like, fake it till you make it, right? And I know it seems like cliche, but to me, there's no way to fake it. If you just start being happy, that doesn't mean you're faking. It means you're becoming what you want to become. And I think people make us feel bad when they think they know our story, they know our life, so they think we should be one way. And when we're actually working towards happiness and joy, they're like, oh, that's fake. Oh, she ain't really. No, this is what I want to be. If I want to attract more experiences to fully give me this feeling, then I have to create space for that, and I have to start being that. I have to start moving in that direction. You know what I mean?
I was just listening to a podcast this morning saying the exact same thing.
What?
That's how on the same wavelength we are.
Honey bear.
But that idea, and it is the fake it till you make it. It's not fake. It's your attempt to begin to embody some of these experiences and these emotions. So, and I think what you're saying, it's about being intentional about what I'm choosing to then focus on as well.
Yeah.
I tell a lot of my clients to act as if. And so...
Oh, that's good.
But you know, if you want to,
I'm gonna take that back to work with me today. They're gonna be like, "What you doing? Acting as if? As if what? As if I run this? Excuse me. Can you give me a cup of water, coffee, and tea?
I'm acting as if I'm your boss.
As if I'm your boss. 3 minutes steep, please. Tablespoon of honey. Don't mix. Top. Sweet.
But it's putting you in a space of receiving and recognizing when things fit where you want to be, as opposed to if I'm like, oh, I'm here, then you attract and notice more things that are keeping you right there. So I think that's amazing, and I think those steps are great because it goes into what we talk about a lot, which is the holistic experience. You can't just fix your mind and not care about your body. You can't just fix your body and not care about your mind. You know, you have to, your spirituality, all that stuff goes together and making you a whole healthy person. And so that's awesome.
I think, Lisa, you shared something about that in your workshop when you were talking about chakra healing. And I think one of the things you said was that a lot of people live up here, like in the crown, and
the spiritual,
but they're not grounded. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And like, it's hard to even put any of this work into action when you're not grounded.
Because we're both, right? You can, and I think it's less fun when we have to actively work to be grounded. It's less fun because that's watch my diet, watch how I'm eating. You know, it's those things that we want to bypass and then just have the inspiration, have the wisdom, have the healing, and it's like sometimes we have to start with the fundamentals. Right. And I think, you know, one thing about being intentional about what we are choosing to focus on, I think that is part of why we have to do that is because our brains are wired for survival.
Right.
So that's just primitive, right? Our brain is wired to look for the danger, look for the threat. And then depending on if there's trauma in your background or what have you, your brain may be even more aware or heightened to be on alert.
Right.
So it's kind of like your brain is like, I'm gonna keep you safe and look for all the bad things that could possibly happen. And so when you're intentional, it's like, okay, and look, this is going well. And this is so you're rewiring your brain is essentially what you're doing.
Yeah.
So look at you rewiring brains.
I love a good and. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You know, I have a quick question. How do you define the difference between happiness and joy?
Okay, so I don't know why I'm gonna say this, but then I'll probably
backtrack a little.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I don't know why people are so gun-ho on making happiness and joy different. Like, oh, happiness is not the same as joy. Happiness is temporary and joy is a lifestyle. Like, does it really matter? Like, you know, because your happiness can be affected by your day-to-day living, but your joy is constant. It's like,
is it though?
Is it? Can you curse on here?
Yeah, we curse.
Okay, none of this shit is constant.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. Like, so really, there's, in my opinion, which I will try to do it for the sake of the people who think different, but for me, there's no difference between happiness and joy. They are the same feeling. When you are happy, you get the same results as when you are joyful, in my opinion.
And that's true about a lot of emotions.
But I'm not a wordsmith. You know what I mean? I don't.
You are a wordsmith.
Conlinguist. Whatever they call it.
That's not it. That's not it.
That's not it.
That's not it.
I got that when you try to be smart. You know what I'm saying?
You are smart. You are
wordsmith.
Linguist.
Take off the comma.
I like the comma. That was me. The linguist part was for y'all. You know, it's a way to say something bad professionally. They didn't even recognize it. And then you,
sorry.
but she's a sex therapist.
It's all good. That brings you a lot of joy too.
First of all, off air, I'm gonna tell y'all about this new thing that I learned about the thing that I didn't even know, and I need to know where it is. Okay. But okay, joy and happiness, joy. That brings me joy and happiness to talk about that.
Yes, amen.
But no emotion is consistent.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can be joyful 1 second and get a phone call and you're pissed off.
Right.
Right. So I think the important thing to know or to remember about joy and happiness is that whether you have it or don't have it depends on you.
Yeah.
It's not important to know the difference between. It's important to recognize when it is absent in your life. But for the sake of definition, I think most people feel like happiness is more related to events, circumstances.
Right.
It can be easily manipulated by external factors.
Okay.
And then I think most people think that joy is a state of being. Like no matter what happens, I choose to remain in a consistent state
of joy,
of a higher vibration.
Right.
Right.
I like that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that. I think that's kind of, and the reason I ask is because so often people will say, well, I just want to be happy.
Right.
And so, well, what does that mean? Right. I like to think of happiness as a state, right? Where it's not perfect, but for the most part, you wouldn't change anything in your life. And I think joy, like how you said, is fleeting. Right, so you can experience joy, you can experience sadness, you can experience anger, you can experience all these things. And when you are in a state of happiness, then there's more of the joy than maybe the frustration, anger. But I think it's you can't have one necessarily without the other.
Yeah,
but I
they
do
work
think
together.
yeah, and I think sometimes people, like you said, they get, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. One, what does that mean? Two, you're not always going to be in that state of joy, right? So,
and understanding that you have the power to create that happiness when something bad happens, then how do you feel the feeling, but then move on back to that state of happiness?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
That intention setting.
Exactly.
I feel so smart. I just feel like
you look so smart.
I could tell people, listen, you messing with my happiness.
Yes.
Messing with my joy today.
Right.
Okay, so y'all know that story I was telling you off air about the no. It's like that.
Right.
That's how I act. That's how I feel about my joy.
Yeah.
When something outside of me like comes in and has the ability to take that from, I'm just like no.
Right.
I'm protecting my joy.
Like no.
Let me stay in this state.
Exactly. You need to remove yourself.
Like no, I'm not doing that with you today.
Right.
And no.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And that's part of the intention too, is how we set limits and boundaries in our lives.
Boundaries
that protect our well-being. Right.
Because people will try you
all day long.
Definitely.
Do you hear me?
All day long. Especially when you are somebody who is in a state of joy on a regular basis.
All the time. People hate that shit.
They do not like that.
They don't like that.
Yeah.
We're not gonna let them.
I want to talk about all your projects.
I want to talk about somebody, but they might be watching. So
let's talk about your project. Let's talk about
Person X.
Right. You're so good for us.
She is. She keeps me grounded.
I'm so glad you're here. What would we do without you? This would be a hot mess. Oh my gosh. Come
She's
on.
the boundary keeper.
Yes.
Okay.
Come on.
So you have a lot of projects going on.
Okay.
I really do. Because you're the total woman. I mean,
I'm
doing shit.
So I would like for you to briefly explain like each of the projects, but then also what's the core like foundation to all the projects that you choose and when you're choosing to take on a new project.
Okay, so I really don't know what I'm doing in my life right now.
Well, let me tell you.
Got the book.
52 Thoughts.
Yeah. By the way, they sent me all of this, so I should be prepared.
Well,
so let's start with the book.
The book. So I'm gonna list your projects. You got 52 Thoughts.
Beauty and the Beard.
Beauty and the Beard, which is a radio show. Where can they listen to that?
Okay, that is broadcast live on Saturdays from noon to 2 on All World Radio. You can stream it live, or you can stream it from our Facebook page at the Beauty and the Beard Show.
Right, and then you have Lightworkers.
Oh yeah,
man,
ready.
I'm just saying, you got Total Woman.
I have Total Woman. Yeah.
So you got a lot of stuff going on.
You overwhelm me with all of that. I like to just deal with case by case basis. Case by case basis. But yeah, there's a book. Last year I released my first book, 52 Thoughts for Higher Living, which is my contribution to the world on how to change your thinking, be positive, know that there's a lesson in every experience, and not to take the trauma with you, but just remembering the love and what good came from your experiences. So it's 52 thoughts. It's 52 of my personal life experiences and how the thoughts changed the way, my perspective about my experiences.
And that's what's cool about it is you give the thought, you give your life example, and then it's like you give an insider's kind of view as to how you then process that and then applied it to you.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you want to know all of my business, start there. That could save us a lot of talk time. You can read my book and we could become friends instantly because I would just know you know all of who I am. And you can get the book on Amazon.com or ChareaseDavis.com. And then the Beauty and the Beard Show, my intention with that was really to create a space and a platform for women to share their experiences of entrepreneurship and their experiences in corporate America with love, laughter, and logic. And specifically for, although we're not biased, but specifically for women of color, because I don't feel like we have a lot of platforms to express. And also to even share what we're doing in our work. Sometimes it can become difficult for us to have media placement, blah, blah, blah. And so it's really just my giving back and my fun time to be with girlfriends and John, who is a whole lot to me. Means a whole lot to me. So that was just really my intention with that, to create a platform for women that look like me to share their businesses and their work.
Love it.
And have cocktails. Perfect. You know, because it's brunch hour.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Lightworkers, which I'm really excited about. Honestly, that came about because I felt like conversations that we're having now, we're just staying at the house or at the dinner table or over cocktails. I felt like, I'm sure there are a ton out there, but in my group, we weren't having any larger discussions about the things that are happening with us individually as humans. And so it's really my offering to the world to be able to have community discussions about things that matter, conversations that change. And so we have them each quarter, at the end of every quarter.
You got one
different topic. We have one coming up, which is on friendship, which has been a really big teacher for me most of my life. You would think, as nice as I am, as kind and as generous and loving as I am, joyful as I am, I wouldn't have friendship problems. But I had to teach them how to treat me. It was all of them, basically.
It was all them.
It was all them, basically. I did no wrong in any of that.
Because you're the total woman.
Because I'm the total woman. I've always had my shit together. I've always been an excellent friend.
People just need to fall in line.
They need to just fall in line.
Capital.
Finally, after 20 years, I've got a few of them to fall in line. I mean, which would probably indicate I'm not a good teacher, but you know,
you gravitate.
The lessons were thick.
They were.
You know, it was heavy lessons. So on December 15th at the Woman's Earth, we're actually celebrating 20 years of friendship and also having an open community dialogue about what it means to be in a friendship, integrating friendship groups, setting boundaries, making new agreements, resolving conflict, moving past hurt. So it's going to be really good. I'm super, super, super excited about that.
I'm excited too.
And also, you just need to know who your tribe is before you go into 2019.
You need to know.
You need to
really know. You think you know.
You think you know.
But sometimes you don't know.
Sometimes you don't know.
You need to be clear.
Moving
into
get a healing.
I'm just saying.
Just saying. Honey Bear offers chakra healing.
Everything.
Get
you all lined up.
All lined up. So yeah, that's coming up, and I'm really excited about Lightworkers. It's gonna be so much fun.
Are there certain things that you look for when you're thinking about new projects and whether or not you should pursue them?
Yeah, I think about myself. That works. That works. It's not hard at all. I think about me. What do I need? You know, I was just gonna serve me. You know, that's funny, but I'm being serious because earlier this year with Danielle Fanfare, I discovered the Enneagram. And the Enneagram is an opportunity for individuals to discover or come to know their true essence, and then kind of what has kept them from that. So what was their childhood messaging that they received, the childhood messaging that they wanted to receive, and then it also gives you kind of a list of when you know that you're moving out of your highest vibration. So like what tendencies you start to operate in when you're moving from low to high, in a nutshell. But it's more complex than that, but just for the sake of this part. And one of the things that was in my background was withholding my true feelings, not speaking up for like fear of losing relationships. I'm good as long as everybody around me is good. So like that kind of people pleasing. And so as I began to like do my work with her and just uncover areas that I realized those characteristics were existing and living, I've really just decided to be about myself for a while, you know, and I know some people may think, you know, selfish. I just don't even know why that's even a thing. But I feel like it's self-full. It's what I'm doing to keep myself full and happy and cared for by myself and not waiting for other people to take care of me. So truly, when you ask me, what do I think about, how do I consider new opportunities, I really consider how it's going to benefit me, how it's going to serve me. And I know that if I'm being benefited and served in whatever capacity that I'm operating in, I know that it will be helpful for other people because my intentions are good. They're filled with love for myself and other people. And so I always know that it's going to work out beautiful for both people versus only thinking about what other people are going to get out of it and how they're going to be served. And then I start building up these feelings of like resentment towards my work because I'm not getting anything. So to keep me from resentment, I always consider myself first.
I love it. Because then you're able to pour into others.
Yeah, because I want to be here. I want to do it. I'm clear about why I'm doing it. I'm clear about how I am going to be helped and benefit and how I'm going to benefit by it versus giving everything away and keeping nothing for myself. Honey Bear.
That's very involved.
Let me tell you something. I'm out
We're
here.
gonna name this podcast Honey Bear.
Honey Bear. I'm out here living my best.
The best life.
The best life.
Capital B.
B-E-S-T. Yeah.
So what has what has the greatest lesson been in 2018?
I don't know if it's not necessarily a lesson, but my greatest realization for 2018 is that I can truly manifest whatever I want and that I am limitless and bound by nothing, and that as I began to desire more, my capacity expands. My capacity expands in order for me to be able to do the work and also to receive what I am now wanting. That's my biggest like realization.
That is beautiful.
I'm on, basically.
You just right
on 2018.
All of it. Hot sauce.
Hot sauce. You see my dress red? I came with the fire today.
Yes. Light it up.
Light it up.
Light up 2019 from November.
From right now on.
I got my sparkles.
Yes.
Y'all see, y'all worried about New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
It ain't about New Year's Eve. It's about what's happening right here, right now.
In this moment.
In this moment.
This is all we got.
That's all I'm saying. You ain't gonna even get to a spark level. You ain't got no spark in you.
Thank you.
You know, it takes a lighter to bring the fire.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
You are the fire.
What is your favorite resource or book? What is your favorite resource?
In addition to 50.
Girl, you didn't even know that we was gonna come here. And just...
Nope. I've seen y'all together a couple times. Normally it's like a lot of people.
Yeah, so you can spread it around. I mean,
you can walk away.
It's just you can just not participate.
You can stop recording.
Y'all know I'm an introvert, so I'm like.
But when it's your show, you just gotta stay.
She's gonna need a moment to debrief after this.
Oh my God.
This is fun though. This is fun.
For now. But when it's over, I'm not gonna be mad. I understand, boo. And I do. That's what I'm saying. You know, my friendships have been hard. That's all I'm saying. They've been hard.
So good.
My favorite resource, but see how I'm on topic? See how I did that? My favorite resource, I read a lot. But I'm very like all over the place with my reading. Like I read like 6 books at once.
Yeah, that's me too.
Maybe Marianne Williamson's book, A Return to Love.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
That's a book that I've been reading for several years. A Course in Miracles is a book that I've been reading for several years. And then I think just following the teachings of like Esther Hicks, Esther and Jerry Hicks, or Abraham, they are also Law of Attraction. I think that's it. You know, meditation, spiritual baths are a good resource.
I would say for you too is creating fun and joy. Like you like to have fun.
Yeah, I like to have a good time. That was my next thing. Yeah. Like being around people, it's like good for me to be able to like just spread my energy.
Yeah.
Can y'all imagine sitting at home with yourself with nobody to laugh? And you're in my mind, I'm alive in my mind, you know? They have that new emoji on iPhone where the breath, that's me all the time. But no, those are great books and resources for me. Marianne Williamson, A Return to Love, A Course in Miracles by the Foundation of Inner Peace. I follow Esther and Jerry Hicks for like Law of Attraction stuff, manifesting work, taking spiritual baths, and really just being with my friends and family, being around people who accept me, pour into me, love me,
celebrate you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
Cocktails.
Cocktails.
That gets you a long way.
Right,
in
exactly.
life.
That'll help out.
Cocktails, yeah.
Why do you think therapy is dope?
Orgasm. That's a good resource.
That's a wonderful
for creating too.
Yes.
Apparently manifesting.
That's what I'm saying. When you get on these moons, get that cycle going.
Get it.
And orgasms, like you forget it. Float away.
I'm just going, okay.
Do your rituals, girl. If you just do your work them 3 or 4 days that you had, you won't have to do nothing for the rest of the month. Everything would just come to you. It would just come to you. No pun intended on that particular word. She's a sex therapist. That's why my mouth is so.
Yes, I'm the reason for it.
Yeah. Okay, what?
Why is therapy dope?
Okay, I'm at my last 2 questions, right?
Yes.
Because I read my work. Why? I read my paperwork. Why is therapy dope? Therapy is dope because I think it's one of those things where it's like something you didn't know you needed, but when you got it, you didn't want to not have it in your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's an intricate part of your life that you've been wanting and not really sure about what it was. But then you go to therapy, you find a dope therapist, and you realize all of the benefits that you gain from it. How you change, how your relationships change, how your interaction change, how your life changes, your family change. I mean,
everything.
It's really, not to be cliche or whatever, but therapy is really like the gift that keeps on giving.
For sure.
And to me, that's why it's dope. You learn so many tools that even when you're no longer in therapy, that you can continue to use to help you navigate your life. Yeah. And even the people around you.
Absolutely.
So I feel like it's a game changer.
You're so good.
We agree.
That's good.
Both sides of the cup. Yes. Just saying, I mean, I heard everything, you know?
Yes. So our favorite question is what makes you dope? Which, I mean...
Girl, did y'all say? Have you been here?
I feel like this has been...
We know, we see it. If you haven't recognized it by now.
I mean, if you don't know me by now,
never.
You will never know me. That's all I'm saying.
That's okay.
I don't even have an answer. I mean,
done. Look, this is it. Dope.
Let there is. Shh. Y'all feel that?
Yes.
But, you know,
let the church.
I just am. It's like, I am what I am. I am who I say I am.
Right.
Like.
I think that was Popeye. I am what I am, and that's all that I am. That was Popeye.
Was that Popeye? Sound like Dr. Seuss. I am what I am, Greek eggs and ham. I am what I am. But no, I mean, I'm a great mom. I'm a great friend, sister, daughter to my parents. And separate from my roles, like I'm good to myself. Like I care about myself. I manage myself well. I am
like that.
Yeah.
I manage
myself well. I work to be present. You know what I mean? And that's really it. I can cook and shit like that. You know what I mean?
There's stuff going on.
Total woman.
Yeah, total woman. Stuff like that. I dress nice.
Yeah.
I got boobs. Thighs for days.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. I mean, so many. Okay. I have gray hair. Lips. I mean, gosh.
You're really good at putting on, helping me put on my lashes in Tobago.
You did
do a real good job with that.
And those pictures.
Like this.
Let me tell you something.
All right.
Okay, done. I'm done. She just squeezed my hand so hard. Like, girl, that's it. I got it, friend. I got it.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm right at my hour.
You did perfect.
You brought all of you.
Amazing.
Thank you for having me.
It really was. I know y'all like. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
And you were so on point. I mean,
she's so good at
the logistics. You know,
she is.
I said, so where do you print your shirt?
Yeah, the logistics.
I'm
so grateful that Honey Bear has you because
I am too. Trust me.
I realized in Tobago she's off the rocker like me, and it's just. I thank you. I do.
Well, we appreciate you.
Yes, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Tobago 2018.
2018. Black Girls Club, baby. Okay, done.